Hey guys, hope you're having a great day today. I wanted to come in here real quick. This video is going to be for those of you that are interested in homeschooling books only. If this is all going to be about homeschooling books, that's it. So no shopping, no cooking, no cleaning, nothing else. Just specifically books, because you guys asked to do a video preview so you could see what was in them. And I'm like, that's genius. But my books, I had an issue with the printing and it took a long time to get here. And I'm like, so I wanted to get this video out real quick just so you can have it. So have a whole homeschooling. You should be able to homeschool your kid for free if you want to. And that's a wonderful thing that you can do. And so over on my website, plainandnotsoplain.com, it's linked below. You can go over there and you can download entire year's curriculum for free. All the worksheet pages, everything you need for basic school curriculum. I did that so that my children, it was for my children originally, they would know the basics and they would be able to complete a standardized test and be good to go for the year. So done those over the years and then being able to give it to people for free. You can download and use it. And then they're also, if you, instead of printing them off, you can buy them on Amazon as a book copy, because you got to pay for printing and all that. So that is over there for free. So now, as I've been homeschooling over the years, many times, for a long time, I have learned different methods and different things that we enjoy doing. And I have learned that, you know what, real learning, real life is like the key to success. You can do a whole lot of education, a whole lot of classes, a whole lot of things, but what's going to get you ahead is real learning and real life. And so that is where my heart is for this curriculum focus for this series. Now, when I first started homeschooling, I remember reading Charlotte Mason's complete collection of how to homeschool your child, and it was like, wow, this is just very like real life and like real learning. And then I had heard but in my head, I was still in that mindset of like, they got to be at school, they got to sit at a desk for this long a day, and they got to do this. If not, they're going to be a failure. If they don't learn to read this time, they're going to be a failure. If they don't know the math facts this time, they're going to be a failure. And the more I've had kids and the more I've gone through life, I'm like, you know what? I heard this whole unschooling movement, just a group of people, and I was like, wow, they don't do anything with their kids all day long and their kids still function as an adult. I'm like, that's not true. But then I realized, so in my head, I had to do a little balance of both. I had to do some workbooks, some pages, and then I felt like we did a lot of real life hands-on thing. And I realized that, you know what, as long as I taught the basics and they kind of know how to read, write, do their math, it's like, and speak and write, function properly as adults, and teach them good work ethics and good morals and good values, all this stuff for work comes with just the job and with what they want to pursue and what they want to do better in. And so I realized that this just learning the basics is important, but everything else just molds them as a human to be a good person and to persevere and work hard and do good in life. And so that is where these books come in handy. So this will get you into a mindset out of the whole sit your child at a desk for 6 to 8 hours a day, don't ask any questions, don't question anybody, and just move, learn a bunch of facts, learn a bunch of things, learn a bunch of history and things that later on they tell you that was not even true. And all this stuff you have to learn, you're not going to do well. It's like, it's not true. It's not a falsehood. So you can do very well, even not going to college. Your child can excel in this world very well just by, I always tell my kids, I'm like, the key to a good life is finding what you love to do and figure out how to make money doing it. That's your key. It's not going to college and spending thousands of dollars. There's nothing wrong with college and getting into education. I have one that does and has a master's degree and enjoys learning and enjoys doing that. That is wonderful. But not everybody is built that way. Not everybody is that way. So I always tell my kids, you just got to find what you love to do and go do it. And then figure out how to make money and you'll do amazing. And that is what I found true with all of them. So this starts out in their younger years. This first one is kindergarten through 3rd grade. It is going to go through and you are going to cover different topics in here. Up on my page here. You're going to go through and you're going to do reading. How to teach reading. What do you do when your child's not reading at a certain age? How do you go about doing it? What's the pressure? What do you have to do? No, there's no pressure. This is the gentle real life learning. You have to get out of a mindset of the more you got to force, they're going to do better. No, they're not. Just kids will naturally learn if you put them in a good, healthy environment. So it's going to go through reading, it's going to go through math, and it's going to go through language on here, like your English. So it's going to go through, it's going to teach you, you can pretty much just read through this and kind of come up with stuff to do each day and go, wow, my child's going to do well. But I also, with this, you get a link to on my website, and you get over 500 pages of downloads, and that's going to include different reading books where you're not going to have to go to the library. You should go to the library and get things, but if you can't, there's all of it's going to be on there. You can download and use math pages, lots of things you can use. If you want to use the pages method, you don't have to. This will lay it out so you can just do it yourself. Get a piece of paper, pencil, or here's some objects. We're going to do math. All in there, but you get the downloads with this one as well. This is the kindergarten through 3rd grade. Then we're going to go on to the middle the middle grades, like 4th through 8th grade, because there's a lot in here. So in this book, you're going to go through and you're going to get reading. I didn't do I was saying, did I do a table of contents? I did. You're going to go through reading, writing, the grammar, penmanship, spelling, and math. It's going to go through a whole lot in here to give you specifically what you can do, how to teach addition and subtraction for this age. What are some tricks to do? What are some mental math things to do? Multiplication. It goes through what are the things that they need to know if you want to learn a little bit extra, like human body, the world history, American history, those kind of things, real life learning, science, like how they can learn hands-on things. This also includes 500 pages of downloads on my website, and it has the math, it has the English, things like that you can download and use. If you want to get into the worksheet thing, this is meant so you don't have to do the worksheet thing, but if you want to, because that makes you feel better, it makes me feel better sometimes. Like for my kids, maybe as I have maybe just 1 or 2 that I have to do schooling, maybe I'll do more of the no worksheets. But as of now, as a mom, that's where my mindset is. Like, okay, I got to give them a few pages to do. So we do very minimal pages, but do those few pages, and everything else is real life and how we relate it. So that is going to be included for that. And then I also have a high school one. Here is for, I say grades 8 through 12, because it's kind of like when my kids hit that grade, it's kind of like we're preparing them for the future. Because everyone's like, what do you do after high school? Because a lot of my curriculum and stuff that I have on my website, it kind of goes up through just 9th grade, and that's it. Because, and I always say, focus on real life. And so, like, what does that look like? Like, what does your kid do? They do nothing? Just play video games all day long? No. I sit down and talk with my kids. I always say, and I explain this in the book, we go through and like teach them the good basics of math, and then the hands-on consumer mathematics. So I always say, find a consumer mathematics course or a real life basic math, and then go through and find a very basic English grammar course that covers everything. Where do you get that at? They have multiple things over that you can buy, but I'm like, that is included with this. So right here, I've got this book, and then I've got a math one and an English one. I'm going to show you all the clips right here. So in this book, it goes through, it's going to give you, it doesn't have a ton of problems. There's not a ton of problems to work through, because I just don't believe that. I always despise the textbooks that had 50 problems that just the kids got to do over and over and over and over again. The kids get tired of doing those problems, so it just gives you a few of that, and at the bottom is the answer. So take a little sticky note and stick it over top while they're doing the work. And if you can't trust your child to go through it without doing it, then we got to teach a little bit more, a little bit work on the truth part, I think, as they're becoming this age in life. And so what I would do is I would go through and I would do that part of the math. And if they were struggling with it, okay, we would go and find a little bit more work on that. So we always kind of work through some other books that we have used is like the real, I always call them, I hate saying it, the dummy series books, like Real Math for Dummies series. And so, or real, like Consumer Math for Dummies series. And it was good because it was very basic, and it just went through just simple tasks. And so that is a lot of what these books are. They're just basic math, pretty much everything they've learned up until this point, just to make sure that they know it. And so that is what is included in the math and the English book that I am offering. So you can download these. These, again, you can go to my website and just download them. You don't even need to buy them. But I am offering them in a print book because of the amount of paper it uses. Sometimes you can't print for that cheap. So I do have the books available that you can purchase. You can get all of it completely. It is not a tons of problems. Your child is not going to get it and sit down for hours doing a page a day. No, if they're going to sit at it, look at it for 5 minutes and go, yep, I know that. Cool, done. Next. But they might sit down and go, ooh, I don't understand that. What is this about taxes? I don't understand how that works. So you know what's going to happen? That's going to require a little bit of Google. And then you're going to have to go online, and you're going to have to do a little bit of learning and researching how that works, or talking with you and how that functions and how that does. So that is where the basis of it. It's for talk to them. Tell them how you do your taxes. Tell them what you do. And it's in the book. It's very simple. And then you know what? If they don't understand it, because math isn't always, you're not going to have like A, B, C, or D, multiple choice on your math in the real world. It's real hands-on lessons. And so that is where those books are for. So those 2 books you can get, they are big books. They have lots of paper space in between, so you can do a lot of writing and everything on it, but it will cover everything that your child should know for basic math skills and consumer math for real life. So those 2 books are included. You can get them, purchase them as well in this series here. And then also in here, it goes through different literature that, they can read, life skills. What are some life skills that your child would need? And how do you do transcripts? Like, that's probably the biggest question I get is, how do you do transcripts and things like that? So this book is going to include everything in there that you need. How to, like, writing things. What can you do? How can you get your child to do things like writing? Maybe they hate writing. I didn't have, a lot of my kids didn't love to write, but you know what? Once they had to write something for like church and write a play, they enjoyed writing. And then I was able to enjoy their writing, get creative with it, and then go back after they wrote a few and go, okay, let's correct this. It wasn't right away, let's correct this, this is wrong grammar, this is no. It was showing them things, and then they'd slowly get better and better and better at it. And so that is your key to everything. Encourage the creativity and things, and then the structure and the perfectness later, you can get done later on. So that is what is included in here, talking about planning for their future. Like, what can they do? Because we don't necessarily do school for 4 years exactly. So let's get them in real life. How does that look? And so in here, I've also included a couple different scenarios for more unschoolers, I call it. Even though the unschooling, I say unschooling, and don't get scared if it's unschooling, because you might still do some paperwork, you might do some things. We do more unschooling, but we do papers and books and things like that, and online courses. And so this, I give you a couple different people to look at it and go, this is how they have done their life. Like, this was one person. This was Emma Grace. And Emma Grace, I just put, this is a sample. It says, a bright, kind, creative girl who was homeschooled using a real-life, relationship-centered approach. She didn't follow a box curriculum every year. Instead, she spent her high school years doing this. She learned through real work and service. She probably worked with her parents, worked at church, volunteered, did things in her home and things like that, served in her community, things like that. She completed the foundational math and English courses, which I have in here. She helped at church. She served. That's a lot when you got to manage and do things for a whole lot of people. She served in her family. She helped manage things. She helped do things in the home. She learned what deep cleaning was like. She learned how to figure out groceries and why you can't just buy expensive things. Why you can't just always buy expensive makeup things you wanted to get. You had to learn how to budget things. She explored her talents in music, leadership, and home care. Worked a part-time job in her last 2 years. And so then I wrote down what that looks like in a transcript. How, like, things she did, like she assisted with farm animals and pet care. She helped cook, clean, plan meals, and run the household. And then she volunteered weekly in church nursery, played the keyboard during worship. She read devotionals, studied scripture, and kept a prayer journal, took walks, followed a home workout routine, created DIY crafts, and home decor for holidays. How that can transpire into a transcript for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year. So that is all on here. And then you also have to do a transcript for the end of the year with grades and things like that. So on my website, you're also going to get downloads for this as well, just like you did for the other ones. And you can go on there and you can research, okay, because every state is different. I get that. Some have requirements, some do not. It depends. And so that's why I didn't put it in here, because every state is different from their requirements. But on the website, you can go over there and you can kind of do a sample of what they require. So, okay, for math, so maybe they require 4 years of math. Well, let's say you only do the one math book that I have. How can you give your child 4 years of math by just doing that math book? That is what is explained in here and over there. Real life math. Do they have to have a job? Do they have to learn how to budget their money? Do they have to learn how to buy things on their own and not overspend their money? Do they have to learn how to, be able to pay their taxes? How do they do their taxes? All of that you can learn from a book, and it can take you months to learn from a book, or you can, do your taxes and fill out the paperwork and do it online one time. And guess what? You get a whole bunch of learning just in doing that. So that is where these books come in handy. I talk about different how they look like, what they should be taught if they move out on their own, how different things that you can add, like foreign language, health class, fine arts, civics, government, things like that, how to do portfolio, different field trips. And it's very simple. It's not that big. It's very simple, but it's just real learning for real life. So it'll get you on a different mindset, away from, like, if my child doesn't do this book for history or this book for science, how do I figure it out as a transcript? That is what is in here. So that is why I wanted to do this video, to be able to talk about everything included in here. So if you have any other questions, any other things, maybe it's not clear. Maybe you're going and you're downloading these things and you're like, I still struggle with this. Let me know, because I would love to help you. I've tried to think of everything that I've ever been asked, that I've ever been, like, I just send people to something in Google, or I say, here, this is what you can do, or here, this is it. So I tried to put this all together, all my thoughts into a book, and then also a lot of downloads, because a lot of people like to see, like, real life stuff. And so I included, like, a lot of books that I've had my kids read over the years, not every single one of them, but just examples, because you can read a ton of books. There's tons of fiction books out there, but there's a lot of leadership. There's a lot of helping books to help them learn to pursue things and give them like, you know, to get moving on things and different study skills and things like that, to learn good quality books to read, good morals and value books to read. So all of that is included on my website with these books. So, okay, I hope that has helped you out with what is in these books right here. It's just a gentle approach to schooling, just a little bit different than just the traditional sit and at a desk all day long. And I've talked about over the years from different things that we've done, but I'm like, I talk about it like, how can I put this into like one whole thing, because it's a concept. It's not like a, all right, here's kindergarten, this is what you're gonna do with your child. No, this is like, all right, let's get the first, this is high school. Let's get the first three years of your kid's schooling. How does that look? What does that look like? What if you don't want to do school for a while? What if you want to wait till your child's 8 or 9 years old and then finally start doing something? What if you just waited? Would your child be okay? They will, I promise. Play with them, take them to the library, do things, but it's hard to get out of that mentality unless you're shown a different way. And so Ruth Beechak, she wrote books way back in the day, and her approach was like this, very simple, very basic, and I'm like, that is awesome. Charlotte Mason, the same way. She did a lot of literature, a lot of books, things like that. I don't even focus on that because some of my kids don't enjoy reading a bunch of books and fairy tales and all that stuff, but we do a lot of those concepts. So this is a whole different approach, just a very basic, but also a lot of real, I'm calling it real learning for real life. So that is what this curriculum is about. So there you go. If you want any of this, look in the link in the description box below. Wanted to share with you, and thank you for those that have gotten it. And if it's helped you, awesome. If there's something more that you feel like is not clarified enough, let me know, because I would love to, because I'm writing these things and I'm going, okay, my brain understands it, but then later I might go, oh, wait a minute, I didn't get that right, or I need to be told a little bit more about that. So let me know anything below. Send me an email, because I would love to be able to help. If you're questioning it or you're wondering about it, I'm sure some other mama is doing the same thing. So, all right, so that's it. I just wanted to give you a quick update on the curriculum. Thank you for those that have asked, and hopefully that's answered your questions. So, all right, I'll see ya. Bye.